I'm very excited to have been part of this. Thank you so much for including me. I'm Gemma Bulos. I'm with the Global Women's Water Initiative. We are transforming women's water burdens into economic opportunities. Next slide. So the Global Women's Water Initiative provides construction and entrepreneurial training in water, sanitation, and hygiene technologies, which are designed for rural grassroots women teams in East Africa to introduce and build wash solutions and thereby create income-generating opportunities for themselves and improved health for their communities. Next slide. So basically our goal is to transform this. This is a very typical scene that you'll see in East Africa with a woman carrying almost a 30-pound barrel of water on her head and a gentleman being able to ride it, carry it on his bike. Women actually generally suffer the worst burdens of a lack of access to water. African women can spend up to 8 hours a day fetching water and conducting water-related tasks. 1 out of 10 girls drops out of school by the 8th grade because there are no toilets in their school. 10.9 million women in East Africa don't have access to water and sanitation, and this is just in Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. They can also, they're collectively around the world, over 200 billion hours are spent a day fetching water. And women are the ones who are responsible for the health of their families as well. So when a family member gets sick from water-related disease, they lose time taking care of them and they expend valuable resources and money for medical expenses. So women definitely are the ones who are most affected by water, yet lack of water, yet they're the ones who are least involved in decision-making around this issue. So what we wanted to do is, next slide, is to transform that picture into this picture. This is a team of our women in Bukoba, Tanzania, who are now building rainwater harvesting systems with tanks. And generally why we focus on women is because the FAO actually declared that exclusion of women from the planning of water supply and sanitation schemes is a major cause of their high rate of failure. We look to women not only because they're the ones who are most affected by it, but also because more women tend to resort to entrepreneurship because they lack access to the formal labor market. So looking at their issue of lack of access to water and then really sort of transforming what that looks like in terms of building solutions and turning them into economic opportunities is how we actually approach this issue. Next slide. So currently, the direct market, there's about, from the research that we've done with UNICEF and the Water and Sanitation website, the direct market, there's about 9,000 women in East Africa who have access to other vocational and technical training programs from other NGOs. And they're basically our target market, is really looking at training women how to build these technologies and provide valuable services. Another direct market is sort of a broader market of the amount of women who don't have access to water and sanitation in Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya, and that's 10.9 million. We're also looking at the indirect beneficiaries who will be the recipients of these clean water and sanitation solutions, and that's 32.9 million men, boys, and girls who don't have access to water sanitation in Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya. The good news is that the UNDP has found that for every dollar invested in water and sanitation, there's a return of about $8 in increased productivity. Looking at women being able to offer into the workforce, we believe that this can be met or even exceeded. With low-cost appropriate technologies, community participation, and conscientious procurement of materials, the cost of implementing water services actually can reduce up to 25% with clean water solutions, and then with sanitation services up to 50%. And that was a study done by the World Bank. Next slide. So when we're looking at the market enablers and the obstacles, the enablers, women are the most burdened by water, so generally they have the most vested interest in its solutions. We're looking at household level appropriate technologies using local materials simply because oftentimes we're working with women who've never picked up shovels before, so making sure that these technologies are the technologies that they can build without any major background in construction or engineering. Also, because they're providing water and sanitation solutions that are water and sanitation that are most needed by the community, the potential for income generation is really, there's potential there simply because they can actually offer products as well as services. So the construction of these technologies and or products that can help alleviate some of these water-related burdens, such as soap making and sanitary pads sales and things like that. When we're looking at the obstacles, of course, there's the traditional issue around construction being traditionally men's work. Women don't actually generally have the background in construction. And also communities can have more than one water issue that they're dealing with. Sometimes it's not just about clean water. Sometimes it's not just about access to water. Sometimes it's not sanitation. Oftentimes it's a combination of all three. So being able to provide women with different solutions for all the different issues of their communities. And of course, the last obstacle is these services can be expensive. When we're talking about rainwater harvesting systems, they can cost in and around $800 to $1,200 US to build the size of a tank that a family or a group of families will need to share. The biosand filter is a modified slow sand water filter that can generally runs about $100 US in East Africa. And then of course toilets, which can run about $400 to $500 to build one. Next slide. So we focus generally on appropriate water technologies, and when I talk about appropriate, that means it can be locally made, they can access local materials, it's affordable, it's accepted by the community, and they're durable. So when we look at water, when we look at the issues that the community will endure in terms of lack of water and sanitation, it's water access, water quality, and sanitation. So the technologies that we're offering the women to be able to learn how to build are these appropriate technologies that they can learn how to build on their own, looking at rainwater harvesting with storage tanks, biosand filters that can clean water, and then various sanitation solutions such as ventilated improved pit latrines and composting toilets. All of them have the potential for income generation either through the construction or the sales of them or through services and the use of them. Next slide. So generally how we work is we're a training consultancy, and basically what we do is we host the trainings. We look for local partners. In the middle section of this slide, we look for local partners that are resource partners, host partners. When I say resource partners, we're looking at technology trainers, entrepreneur, workshop facilitators, things like that. And we also include fellows, and that includes international students and or WASH professionals who come and join us and work alongside the women as their coaches and mentors. And then our beneficiaries are the grassroots women, who we select in teams of 2. They're selected through a process of a nomination process, and basically what we do is we ensure that they have been able to implement programs in their communities before, and we select them to be the recipients of this training. And then of course through their implementation, the users are their community members who need the water and sanitation services. Next slide. So just how our financial our finances work. Oops, go back up there to go back to the last slide. Yeah, where we're looking at the income generation. Women, we basically try and find sponsorship for the women to take the training. They eventually will be charging them royalties and membership fees to be part of this network. They'll also be offered microloans and some other microfinancing opportunities so that they can have continued access to financing, and that will generate income not only for GWWI but also for the women's organization who are offering these loans to their communities. So there are various ways, and the ways in which the women will earn money is they will be able to get hired to construct these technologies, as well as offer workshops, much needed water and sanitation and hygiene workshops in the communities, as well as offer different products for sale. Next slide. So basically, in the past couple of years, we started doing these trainings in 2008, but have been much more focused here in 2011 with a stronger model. In 2008, we hosted one training in East Africa, and were able to, and the impact was there were over 8,000 people, and that was a $75,000 investment from us. From 2010, we had 15 teams, a $102,000 investment, and over 9,000 people were impacted by the women's implementations. In 2011 was the first year we started to do this stronger and more comprehensive model. The investment was $129,000 from the GWWI partners, and some of that was earned revenue from the participants who actually paid for their participation, and about 15,000 people have been impacted with that. And then starting from September 2012, we started a new program, which is creating wash service centers with these women being able to provide all of these different water and sanitation services. So far, our earned revenue is $8,000, and we've got to raise an additional $164,000 if you look at that last column to be able to complete this 18-month program. So, and that is we'll have an estimated impact of about 40,000 people with that investment. This next slide. So basically, we have a variety of support from different. We have the Global Women's Water Initiative actually is a program. It's not an organization yet. So it's funded by two different organizations, and those organizations have been accessing funding from their sources, and most of it is grants and foundations. We've already had about a promised amount of about $75,000 for this next phase, and that's guaranteed, and then we have an additional $30,000, I believe. That's still that's an invited. Where we've been invited to apply for funding but haven't been approved. Next slide. The critical success factors are really looking at making sure that the GWWI graduates have the capacity to build and replicate their technologies. They have the capacity to offer a variety of comprehensive wash education and services. The income generation aspect is making sure that they receive training, and that we, GWWI, can receive training and membership fees from the participants, as well as the graduates being able to generate income through their product sales and services. And then, of course, advocacy, looking at GW graduates creating community campaigns and influencing local water policy. Next slide. There's a slide of the team. Myself, I'm the and I'm based here implementing all the trainings, and we also have volunteer support from our funders, Crabgrass and Women's Earth Alliance. Next slide. Basically what we're looking at is our inputs are $15,000 per team to be part of this training. The activities are capacity building trainings in technology and entrepreneurship. The outputs are a minimum of 6 technologies built in 18 months by the teams, and these teams will be hired to build these technologies, and the outcomes are 10 women-led water, sanitation, and hygiene service centers established in East Africa. And basically the summary is why women. They're disproportionately burdened by the lack of water and sanitation. They tend to be entrepreneurial, so we're looking at that aspect and creating this wash service center opportunity for them, and really being able to equip women-led organizations with tools and skills to provide local water solutions. And we're seeking $450,000 to complete the 2012 to 2014 cycle and expand the model to East Africa.